going on, everybody? Just wanted to let you guys know I got a new chair. Actually, no. I've had that chair for a while. Hey, can you guys put some like WD-40 on the wheels for me next time? Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah. Make sure you get that down. Come on in. Grab a seat. Saturday stream. We're going to go over Father's Day stuff. We're going to talk about this awesome, insane article from CNN. You guys may or may not have seen it, especially if you follow me on Twitter, which you should. If you don't, then you probably don't know I'm streaming right now because I put a notification out 2 hours ago. Get in here. I see some seats back there in section H. It's a little empty. Come on in. We're trying out the Saturday stream. This is Jeremy from the Weekly Narrative. I don't know who Sam Jackson is. Oh, Samuel Jackson? Like Samuel L. Jackson? I don't know. It's very possible. It's very possible. Come on in. Come on in. Everybody get in here. Grab a seat. Get a drink. Saturday afternoon. Saturday evening. I mean, if you're on the East Coast. Just come in here and spend an hour. Let's recap a couple of insane stories from the week. We're going to talk about an article that's titled, "He Gave Birth. He Breastfed. Now he wants his son to see him as a man." Then we're going to talk about an awesome new study that came out from Michigan State University in ASU. That's going to be good, really good. And if we have time, we'll get to an article about an update on the Harvard Asian bias story that's going on. Let's see, keyframes not being set often. Why is YouTube's crying at me? Does the video quality look okay? YouTube's crying at me for some reason. When are you going on this Crowder? I don't know, man. Whenever he invites me, I'll go. Whenever he invites me. Let's see. Stream health. Guys, what's going on with the stream health? Huh? Looks okay to me. Just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down in the chat. Let me know if the stream looks like trash. Brian, what's up, man? What's going on? Trying out the Saturday stream here. I don't normally drink Pepsi. I don't know. I don't know why I had it. Anyway, let's jump into it. You guys may or may not have seen, like I said, on my Twitter, I responded to an article from CNN who says he gave birth, he breastfed, and now he wants his son to see him as a man. So first impressions, I don't know what's going on with the some surgery or something happened here. You know, maybe it's just a weird emo guy, something, I don't know. But then he breastfed, that's a little weird. That's a little weird. Let's see what's going on here. Come on in, grab a seat, grab a drink. Let's go through let's read some insanity together. All right, like many new dads, Sebastian Sparks knew parenting would come with serious challenges. But most dads didn't give birth to their child. Second sentence already. What happened? What happened? Where did this go wrong? They didn't breastfeed them. And they don't endure glares from strangers when they go shopping with their wife and their toddler son. Sebastian, 24, is a transgender man who lives with his wife, Angel, in suburban Atlanta. Assigned the female gender at birth. Assigned. What does that mean? Assigned? So for my first question, I'm like 3 sentences in. I want to know immediately, who is the author of this article? And how many years of gender studies did they take in college? That's the first question that comes to my head. Because this is clearly biased, anti-science bias. You know what I mean? Start saving for psychiatry now. That's yeah. This kid is gonna have some issues, and we'll get into more of the warning signs here as we go. But okay. Men can't give birth. We all know that, right? That's basic biology. Men cannot give birth. That fact seems to have gone overlooked by the author here at CNN, Kendall Trammell. Yeah, CNN. This is part of their kind of, normalizing. What they're doing here with this article is they're trying to normalize this kind of stuff. They're trying to normalize this idea of the transgender men can give birth type of thing. All right, let's try to get through this together. Let's see if we can make it through. Began transitioning 5 years ago. It's a process that felt more complete last month when he had surgery to remove his breasts. So she had surgery to remove her breasts so that she could feel more like a man. So bodily mutilation, that kind of explains what we saw in the picture here. There's obviously something going on right there. Parts of her body were removed to more fit in line with her mental image of herself. How's the music volume, by the way? Last time it was too loud. I want the music to be just like really low. I don't want it to be overpowering. I just want it to be in the background, like you're having a conversation in an elevator or something. With Father's Day approaching, Sebastian finds himself thinking about gender roles and what it means to be a dad. Happy Father's Day, by the way, to all the fathers out there, Brian. Anyone else who may be a father. All the male fathers. Too low now? Oh, well, it might have just been that transition out of that one song. He wants Jackson. First, what's that name? Why do they have every single thing that they do, they have to make it like unique and special? I mean, the hair, all that. Why do you have to do this shaved head on the side? Why do you have to name your kid Jackson with a Jaxen? Why do you have to do that? Their 20-month-old son to have as normal a childhood as possible. Good luck with that. And for the first time, he now feels at ease inside his own body because he just mutilated it. He hopes Jackson will see the difference. Jackson is going to be pre-programmed by millions and millions and millions of years of evolution. He will know something is up. He will know. I'm going to be a better father, being comfortable in myself, and him seeing that confidence in me. As a teen growing up, Sebastian felt different. Before he transitioned to become a man, he would sit on the school bus and think how much he hated having breasts. Sebastian hoped that one day, after saving enough money, a surgery could remove them. By the time Sebastian met Angel 5 years ago at a convention for transgender people, he identified as a man. Are you keeping up here? It's moving fast. We're moving fast. Angel, 33, was designated male at birth, but had transitioned years earlier. It's a lot of moving pieces here, people. Try to keep up, all right? We have Angel over here. He was a man at some point, and now he's not. And this guy, Sebastian, was female. Now he's not. And he gave birth without breasts, but he wants to breastfeed, and he was a male and gave birth. A lot of moving parts. Try to keep up. They both knew they wanted to be parents. After they were married in 2016, they agreed that Sebastian who could carry their child. Wait, hold on. After they were married in 2016, they agreed that Sebastian would carry their child. Sorry, I was just playing a little Overwatch. Not Bastion, Sebastian. Angel Spark says that wasn't taken lightly. Like many transgender men and women, they had been taking medication to increase the testosterone or estrogen of their bodies. Totally cool to be taking a kid and be on a bunch of hormones, right? Definitely. I'm sure that's well researched and documented to be completely safe. So to make a baby, They briefly stopped taking their hormone pills. Oh, okay, there we go. There we go. Good. I'm glad they brought that point up because that was the first question that came into my head, you know? Well, is that kosher? Is it kosher? Roll Rat G, welcome. What's going on? Welcome to chat. Guys, come on in. Get a drink. Relax. Put your crazy caps on. Like many transgender men and women, they had been taking medication. Oh, wait, I already went there. We already said that. The couple conceived their son the conventional way, even though their biological roles at the time were not compatible with how they saw themselves. What? So a dude and a chick made a kid, but they thought that they weren't. They thought the other one was a chick and the other one was a dude. How weird does that have to be, right? A dude and a chick get together and they each think that the other is a opposite of what they really are. Crazy amounts of denial of reality here, just insane amounts. Getting pregnant was fine, Angel says. Trying to stay pregnant was difficult. First time they tried, Sebastian miscarried. That's unfortunate. When he got pregnant with Jackson, they worried another miscarriage would happen. I think 1 in 5 kids are miscarried these days. It's not uncommon, you know. Before Jackson, Sebastian was my baby. I was worried about the baby, but I was also worried that I could lose Sebastian too. I mean, he's chopping himself up. He's trying to have a kid. He thinks he's a dude. The couple could also face the prejudice of others. When Sebastian was pregnant, someone close to him threatened to take the baby away, saying his life at home would be unnatural. So this was probably some, you know, like religious guy, super religious, came in, saw what was going on and said, You're a bunch of sinners. That's an unnatural marriage. You can't do that. You can't have a kid like that. You got to raise your kid with 2 parents, man and woman. Kind of stuff like that. That's what comes into my mind anyway when I think of what he's saying there. For security reasons, he and Angel were listed as anonymous at the hospital. Oh wow, oh boy. Gotta watch out for those crazy religious people. Oh, and the first picture of the quote-unquote wife comes into the picture now. There in the background, if you can't see that. Let me make this a tad bigger. There we go. I got it. You guys are too slow. Angel, a multi-faith minister, whatever that means, said this was a test of her faith. But as she sat there in the living room with Sebastian, teasing him to be a man while in labor, enforcing gender stereotypes. Be a man. Angel's fears began to fade away. I always say the most beautiful thing in the world gave me the most beautiful thing in the world. Aww. After Jackson was born, Sebastian sometimes had to breastfeed when he, Angel, and their son were out in public. The 3 of them drew stares as they navigated the aisles of their neighborhood stores. People would snicker or call us F****. She says he'd try to cover it up and hide what he was doing. That's because he can't breastfeed. She can, though. Sebastian, feeling self-conscious, wore a chest binder, a compression shirt used to flatten breasts. It's uncomfortable and sweaty and itchy. Imagine wearing that for 10-12 hours at a time. I was always having to hide myself. And now we get a great headshot of the once male, now female wife. Notice the facial piercings, which are key when dealing with transgender people. For some reason, I don't know why. That's still a mystery to me. I'm trying to figure that out. Trying to dig that one up. Why do they all have... They've all got nose rings and, you know, whatever else, face, eyebrow, lips. Nobody knows why. It's because, and the shaved hair, you know, why can't there just be normal-looking transgender people? You know what I mean? Why do they always have to try and pretend to be rock stars? Could they be looking for attention in some way? And then they don't want to be standing out when they go into public. Weird. So if I didn't want to stand out in public, I wouldn't get a bunch of tattoos. I wouldn't make my hair or earrings. I wouldn't make my hair all spiky. You know, I wouldn't do all that. Not all transgender people choose to have surgery as part of gender transition, and Sebastian knows looks shouldn't matter. But he worries that the scornful way some people treat him could get passed down to Jackson. That's not what he wants for his son. So last month's surgery wasn't just important for him, but for Jackson too. Sebastian wants his son to see himself in him. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. What you're going to do is confuse that kid. You're going to confuse the hell out of that kid. Because he's going to look at you and, you know, he's going to think, wow, this is what a man is? Because that's what you're telling him, right? You're telling him, I'm a man, I'm a man. You're going to repeat that 1,000 times a day to this kid because you want him to believe that you're a man. You're not a man. So his image of what a man's going to be is completely going to be screwed up from the start. Because no matter how hard you try, you're not going to behave like a man. You're not going to actually be a man. You're not going to have all the behavioral nuances to being a man. You know, it's going to be a confusing situation for this kid. I feel sorry for him. I do. I really do. My son won't see breasts on his dad. He won't be as different from me because there's no breasts. See, that's how shallow these people are. And maybe this partially answers my question about the facial piercings and stuff, because all they see is you know, physically, visually what you are and what you appear to be, right? Black, white, woman, man. You don't have the breasts, so oh man, no, there's a lot more to being a man than having breasts. So when you say he won't be as different from me, you are leaving out a lot of different things there. What's going on, Tara? Welcome to the stream. He's always running around with his shirt off. It's like he's looking for a reason to show the world his chest. Yeah, he's a little kid. That's what they do. They try not to put too much stock into gender roles. Okay, so right up here, that confuses me a little bit. Right up here you said he won't be as different from me. But then you say you're not going to put too much stock into gender roles. Again, reinforcing the idea that all you consider when you're thinking about being different from me is physical appearance. Because gender roles, if you want your kid to be a man, there's a lot of gender roles there. There's a lot of gender role stuff there. Let me guess. You're gonna encourage your kid to play with dolls and wear women's clothing and dye their hair pink and grow their hair out. You're gonna do all that, right? You're gonna do all, and not only that, but you're gonna discourage playing with trucks, playing with action figures. You're gonna discourage roughhousing at the playground. Do kids even play at playgrounds anymore? Is that even a thing? Do the kids have interaction with each other anymore, or is everyone just sheltered completely? I don't even know. I don't think they do. But if they did, they'd probably discourage that kind of behavior, which is biologically male behavior. In their 2-bedroom apartment, Jackson has a mixture of toys in his room, from little trucks to dolls to a play kitchen. I swear to God, I didn't know that was the next sentence. This is just my prophetic. It's not prophetic, it's just repetitive. It's a pattern, right? They all think exactly the same way. It's easy to just pick out exactly what they're gonna think and what they're gonna say, because they're all exactly the same. They all think exactly the same. So coincidence? Dolls? You're gonna give your kid dolls. It's a guy. It's a male child. You're gonna give your kid dolls. Also, side note, notice right here, they've already pierced this kid's ear at 20 months old. They're getting an early start on the facial piercings. You know, give it another year. The kid's gonna have a shaved head on the sides, probably a septum piercing, you know, with a little bull ring hanging out, something like that. Maybe a tattoo on his forearm. Because you have to let everyone know, you have to let them know that your kid is unique, right? He's a unique person. Notice the septum piercing here, shaved head, ear piercings. Yeah, it's they're all pretending to be unique while all complying with like a formula. It's almost like a cookbook. You open it up, transgender person. Oh, step 1, get your ears pierced. Step 2, shave head. Step 3, optional, dye hair. Step 4. Angel puts Jackson to bed some nights, while other times it's Sebastian. They both consent when Jackson wants to be picked up or tossed playfully in the air. Like all the time, because he's a kid, that's what he wants. But when it comes to lessons learned as a toddler, there are some things Sebastian wants to teach Jackson, father to son. One of them is how to pee standing up. Something Sebastian does with the help of a detachable prosthetic. Awesome! I can't wait to be there for my kid, says Sebastian, who works as a security guard at a distribution center. The more my body resembles his, the better he'll understand. See again, third time. For the third time I'm pointing this out. They think that all that matters is that if their body looks the same. That's all that matters, is that the body looks the same. Wrong. Very, very wrong. In fact, that probably matters the least. Although he's less than 2, Jackson already shows signs of seeing his parents in terms of traditional gender roles. Wait a second. I thought they were trying to ignore gender roles. So, up here, right, somewhere up here, they said they don't care about gender roles, but now they're happy that their kid is looking to dad to play ball. Man, I am so confused. I'm not the only confused person between me and the article here, all right? There's a lot of confusion going on, a cloud of dark haze that I can't see through. Let's see if we can clear it up. Maybe there's some light at the end of this tunnel. The Sparks family has no plans for Father's Day this year. Why not? Sebastian says he'll be most likely working on Sunday. Okay, understandable. But he knows there will be plenty of future opportunities for him to spend quality time with their son. Sebastian wants Jackson to travel around the world. He wants to help guide his son on path to adulthood and make sure he never feels like he can't find love wherever he turns. It's interesting. That's a little complex. Maybe we'll start out with passing preschool first, you know, and then work on to the traveling the world type stuff. Let's make sure the kid can interact socially with other children, and then, you know, worry about the finding love thing. That's going to be another 15, 16 years until he's even interested in that. Even though Sparks have created a safe and loving home for their son, Sebastian worries about how cruel the outside world will be to a child with trans parents. We're thinking about homeschooling him because we don't know what will happen when the kids find out his parents are trans. By being who we are, we're already subject to the ridicule of others. All we can do is teach him our values and hope for the best. All you can do is teach him your values. Teach him. You taught him how to get his ear pierced? Was that like an option for the kid? Did you ask him if he wanted to get his ear pierced? Or did you impose your beliefs on him? Because I think that's really what's going on here. There's a lot more imposing than teaching. We will teach him our values. And secondly, what are the values somehow different for trans people? You know, I brought this up in a video I made a long time ago about the transgender ideology and the rise of the transgender ideology. Your sexual orientation or your gender, which doesn't exist according to them because it's just a social construct, is one tiny slice of the pie that makes up your whole personality, right? So 90% of the rest of you are values that should be universal for the most part between parents or between society at large, whatever scale you're looking at. But they make it sound like there's some kind of special club values for transgender people. I'm not really sure where they're going with that one, but let's just, we have to assume by the ear piercing at 20 months that there's some imposition of will there. The couple are raising their sons the best way they know how, with love. They also realize that for many observers, that won't be enough. Love is not enough. No, it's not. Many observers. No. I'm pretty sure the evidence is clear. That's not enough. People think trans can't be good parents, but that's not true. The trans parents are just like any other parents. Ooh. I'm gonna have to disagree on that one. I'm gonna have to disagree. Although there hasn't been a lot of very thorough studies on parenting as far as how far or how successful children of like gay parents will do. But just the fact that you think that you have to restrict your child from doing certain things because you're gonna face ridicule means that you're gonna give your kid a different childhood just because of that, regardless of whether or not anything actually happens. Your predilection to that bias against you is going to cause you to behave in a different way. That's going to ill prepare that child for life, because this kid needs to go through hardship. The kid needs to get through he needs to get bullied at school. He needs to get bullied. He needs to get, shoved around. He needs to get laughed at. He needs to fall in the dirt. He needs to play with other kids. He needs to do all this stuff that turns you into a real person. Because without all that stuff, what's gonna happen is this kid's gonna be so sheltered, and he's not gonna get any perception of what the real world is like, or what other kids' parents are like, or how they're raised. He's gonna get none of that. So he's gonna grow up in a hyper kind of, you remember that movie Bubble Boy, where that guy was in a bubble because he couldn't get sick or whatever, he couldn't get germs on him? That's exactly what this kid is going to get. They were talking about homeschooling him. They're saying they can't take him to different places because they're going to ridicule, and then he's going to get into a situation eventually where he, as an adult, you have to get out there. You have to get in the real world, and you have to interact with real people. And he's not going to know how to handle any kind of adversity, any kind of challenges, any kind of, pushback from people. Someone's going to make a casual comment, and he's going to think it's an insult, like a lot of these feminists and stuff do. You need to experience some hardship and some of that. That's what makes, I'm not going to say makes you hard. You don't need to get hard. It's not like you're going to prison, right? You just need to toughen up a little bit. You need to get that tough skin and be able to handle certain situations. That's my in a nutshell, that's my theory for why anxiety and depression, mostly anxiety, is so high and so prevalent today in society. I know almost everyone that I knew in college, when I was going through college, was on some kind of anxiety pills. All these kids coming up these days are on anxiety pills. Everyone's on prescription drugs, ADD, whatever. That's a different story in itself. But, everyone, they're so anxious about everything. Like, they're having panic attacks left and right for this and that. And it's like, you're 16 years old or 17 years old. What are you exactly, barring any kind of trauma or childhood abuse, what is there to be so anxious about? What has changed in the school environments, for example, that has made kids become so anxious? Other than the fact that it's become a lot easier. Like, school is basically a joke these days. They lowered the standards incredibly. School is an absolute joke in America compared to places like Japan or China. Our education system is not rigorous, all right? There's not a lot of high standards. It's not like you should be going to school thinking, oh my God, I'm not going to pass. How am I going to get past this test? Whatever. Maybe you are, but that's probably just the result of your poor studying habits, focusing on other things like playing games or whatever it is. But in general, the sense of anxiety that everyone has is because they can't handle even the basic stress. The amount of stress that people have been able to deal with has steadily decreased because these kids are being raised in softer and softer environments, right? It started back in like the 70s or the 80s. I think it was the 80s. There was this epidemic, a media scare of like child kidnappings, right? So as soon as that happened, parents instinctively were a lot more careful about letting their kids out to play, letting their kids have freedom, play with other kids, interact with the world, because that's how children learn how to do things, is by interacting with the world. And that was the start of the decline. And I think it's directly related to where we are now. And you know, aside from the fact that the parents aren't going to fill your traditional gender roles, they are going to raise this kid in a way that he's so preciously bubbled out, you know. So, and that's not even touching on the fact that he's not a biological man. She's not a biological man. That's a whole another story. Everything that I just talked about is all the result of what's going to happen because they're raising them as, oh, we're special parents. We're special. Their kid's going to suffer just because of the fact that they think they're special because they're transgender parents or whatever it is. Don't even... Now, when you combine all that I just said, combine all that with the fact that he does not have any actual traditional biological role models to go off of. He doesn't have a father to look up to see how fathers should behave. This kid is doomed. I'm sorry to say, but this kid is gonna have a hard, very, very hard life. And somebody said in chat the kid's gonna grow up to sue the parents. That's funny. It's possible. Has that happened yet? Has anybody sued their parents for like a terrible childhood? Is that even possible? What are the damages in that case that you bring forward? Abuse? What's going on, Mitch? Welcome to chat. Karen, welcome. Zanti, Misfits. What's going on? Come on in. Come on in. We're talking about this insane article from CNN. In case you guys missed it, I was going on a little bit of a tangential rant there about childhood. We're talking about this article from CNN. He gave birth. He breastfed. Now he wants his son to see him as a man. Well, CNN is clearly confused as to what a man is. Let's do. I'm curious. Let's do a quick search on CNN for Father's Day. See what happens. Is there anything? Did they have a Father's Day article? Are they celebrating Father's Day? It doesn't look like it. They don't have a Father's Day article. Let's try Google. Maybe CNN is. Oh yeah. So Google, you know, normally Google does, you know, the branded, special landing page for holidays. Nothing for Father's Day yet. Usually they do it like a day or two in advance, you know. Father's Day. CNN. So this is what comes up for Father's Day on CNN. Here's another one. Planning a Father's Day brunch on Father's Day is both bitter and sweet. Okay, all right. So no celebration of Father's Day from CNN, really. Just this one that kind of talks about what I'm guessing is going to be absent fathers in the household, something like that, and then probably blame it on white supremacy or... okay, so no, this one is about male suicide, which is also another big issue that no one wants to talk about. Yeah, that's right, it's Parents' Day, I forgot. Yeah, you can't have Father's Day anymore. And you know, to be fair, they were talking about getting rid of Mother's Day as well. I saw more outcry against Mother's Day than I've seen for Father's Day so far. But we'll wait until tomorrow. I'm gonna withhold judgment on that one until tomorrow, until actual Father's Day happens. Okay, so this one is about suicide, right? So CNN doesn't want to celebrate Father's Day. Got it. But if they did, let me just do a quick scan here. Transgender Dan wants him to see. Oh, this was their Father's Day article? This was their Father's Day article. Okay, so the only other article that even mentions Father's Day on CNN is about male suicide. Now, if CNN is talking about male suicide, you know it's got to be a big issue. It's because if it's to the point to where CNN can't ignore it, you know it's huge, and it is. Let's do a quick Google male suicide rates. Suicide statistics. America's rising suicide rate from a day ago. Oh no, well, women are trying to outdo men. They're increasing faster than men's. Well, I could probably shed some light on my opinion on that one. Oh my God. Sorry about that. I'm never going to this site again. Anytime I see a site that plays videos automatically like that, instantly gone. I don't care. You're out. That was terrifying. America's rising suicide rate. Let's see if we can get a number here. Jesus. I just want to read the article. What is all this? I just want to read the article. Do I have to turn my ad block off? Wow. Really? Okay. Oh. Sign up. What is this? The Economist? Garbage. This month, Center for Disease Control released a report suggesting that America's suicide rate increased by 25% between 1999 and 2016. You guys may have heard about this. It just came out. I think this is from this week, right? Yeah. Yesterday. This climbed from a historic low at the turn of the millennium, and the American suicide rates are overall still not significantly above those of other high-income countries. Nonetheless, the WHO estimates suggest that out of its 183 member countries, the United States has the 7th largest percentage increase in suicide rates. Every suicide can have multiple causes, of course. Let's see if this doesn't touch specifically on men. 35 country study, blah, blah, blah. Men. Mental health is all I get. Nobody wants to talk about men. Seriously. Oh, here we go. Other research suggests that one factor behind the rising suicide rate is erosion of the privileged status of white men. Bingo. I was looking for a statistic, but I'll take that. No, and it's just a suggestion, but this was kind of the point that I was getting to anyway. There's articles out there talking about how, or questioning whether we should abolish Father's Day because it makes parents or families without fathers feel bad or something like that. You know, so what's the root of the issue here? The erosion of the privileged status of white men. Now, suicide is not a class-specific issue. It actually, I think it disproportionately affects higher middle to higher status, higher class people. So this isn't like a, you know, it's not like a class thing. But just the fact that there's nothing on CNN about Father's Day, aside from this, it gives a little bit of a look into, I mean, they're not even saying Happy Father's Day. They can't even say it. They can't say Happy Father's Day. They say, planning a Father's Day brunch. Check the list of recalled foods. It's not even about Father's Day. It's about recalled foods. You kidding me? I'm a little curious, though. Kellogg's cereal. All right, there you go. You heard it here first. Don't eat Kellogg's. No vegetable trays, although I know dads hate those. Can't say it for sure. I'm not a dad, I don't think. Cut melons. Who eats those anyway? Seriously? There you go. A little bit of a health segment on the Weekly Narrative today. Hope you enjoyed that. Back to our regularly scheduled content. Is there a war on men in America? I want to hear everyone in chat. I want to get a yes or no. Do you think there is, to a greater or lesser degree, a war on men in America? I'm not going to even specify white men. All right, I'm going to leave the white out. Is there a war on men in America? Or are we just prioritizing, or are we just listening to the loud voices of the feminists? You know, like, which is it? Is it the feminists kind of outspeaking the men, or are they legitimately trying to tear men down? You know, with the toxic masculinity thing, you can't even be a real man. you can't behave in a traditionally male role without being called toxic anymore. Because what does toxic mean? Well, toxic means that you're loud and you're aggressive and you have you know, your physical, basically everything that relates to having higher levels of testosterone. You know, the one thing really that makes us a man, you know, and I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Yeah, basically everyone in chat said yes. I know, where is everyone? Only 10 viewers. We only have 10 viewers right now. So, wow, the Monday numbers are way better. Everyone's out enjoying their Saturday with their fathers. Hopefully, that's what's going on. I hope. But anyway, the war on men. This is a perfect example. Now you're gonna say, oh, they're not attacking men with this article. No, I know, I understand. It's not an explicit. They're not explicitly tearing down men all the time. That's not what I mean by the war on men. This particular article is a perfect example of, you know, we're getting an article about a woman trying to raise a child as a man. That's what we get for a Father's Day article from CNN, not a triumphant story of a man who had a child out of wedlock and then he bunkered down and he took responsibility for his actions and he married the girl and they were in poverty and he worked hard and he got a job and he went to college on the side and he got a great career and then he became CEO of whatever to provide for his parents or his child and his wife. We don't get a story like that. We don't get a story of triumphant male role, right? And that's the thing. They're trying to erode the traditional role of a father in the household. And when people read stuff like this instead of the triumphant male responsibility story, you know, they're a little less likely to be. You don't get that social reinforcement of what am I? If I'm an 18-year-old guy and I'm reading a bunch of stuff like this all day, I don't have as much reinforcement as I should about where I should go as a man, what I should be doing. If I knock a girl up, you know, am I going to take responsibility for that? Am I going to marry her? Am I going to just scram like 70% of black fathers do? You know, that's probably the biggest issue. Maybe that's why they don't want to bring it up. Maybe that's why they don't want to bring that up, because if they bring up fatherhood, then we all have to examine, we have to look at the black fatherhood problem in America, which is, as we all know, you know, as part of the weekly narrative community, we're informed. So we know that that's probably the highest influencing factor on why the black community isn't doing very well. I'm not saying, notice what I did there. You gotta notice the little nuance that I threw in there. I didn't say that's the reason why the black community isn't doing well. I could have said that. What you would have seen most media outlets do was say something along those lines, the same way that they say white privilege is the reason that black people aren't succeeding, but the reason. I have a big problem with that term, the reason, because a situation like single parenthood in the black community is there's so many different variables that go into that consideration. You can't just say, oh, that's the reason, or this is the reason. White privilege is the reason, or racism is the reason. It's a someone mentioned GIFs that involve alcohol? GIFs that involve alcohol. Speaking of alcohol, I don't think I've taken a sip this entire time. So cheers to everyone in chat. Happy Father's Day again. Oh God. Okay, where was I? Single fatherhood in the black community is the single probably greatest factor for the reason why they are in the state that they are now. Now, traditionally, they have attributed this to white supremacy, to, you know, they boil it down to a couple different arguments. And this is interesting because I've talked to a lot of people about this. And They always bring up the same. I can see the path that they're going to take in their head before they even say the words. I know exactly what they're going to say. It's the same every time, or a slight variation of what I'm about to say. What am I drinking? That's vodka. Just vodka. The path that they go down in their head is this. Okay, so I ask, why do you think black fatherhood is such a tragedy in the black community? So they're going to say, oh, because black fathers are being taken out of the homes by the white man and the police and the prison system, right? That's what they're going to do. They're going to say that they're being put into prison for no reason. That's the number one answer probably that I hear, is that they're going to say they get thrown into prison for no reason. This prisons are tearing apart black families. Well, first of all, it's not really how prison works. You have to actually commit a crime to go to prison. You can't just get thrown in prison for walking down the street. And maybe that's happened a couple times, but that's not going to create a 70% single parenthood rate. And then you know, I'll rebut with something like, oh, well, you can't go to jail for having marijuana, you know, or prison, or you know, then they'll say something along the lines of, well, they don't even have to do any crimes. They just get thrown in jail. And basically the gist of their argument is that white people and the system that white people created are the ones that are tearing apart the black family, and they're doing it intentionally, right? So they're getting shot and killed. That's another one. That's the second biggest argument. They're just shooting black people everywhere. Every chance they get, they're shooting and killing black people, right? Cops. Anything they can do. He didn't do nothing. Yeah, well, there's another situation in Sacramento now where some guy died in police custody, and they're trying to raise a bunch of money. They're trying to capitalize off of his death for monetary gain. It's pretty sad. That's the saddest part of the whole story. An awesome new study was done, and I say awesome because this is something that I've been looking for a while. Now, this is a study that just came out 3 days ago. Hot off the presses, guys. If you haven't seen this one, you need to add this study. This is a study that you need to know about, because this is a study that you need to cite when people are talking about this. This is the study that you need to cite when people are talking about this. Black racial disparities in police shootings. Now, there was a study that was done at Harvard, I think a few years ago, 2014 or something like that. Maybe, I can't remember off the top of my head. Somebody, a black man, did a study at Harvard. I believe it was Harvard. Man, I don't know. A study was done that looked at a bunch of different police departments and looked at disparities in racial shootings. And people kind of tried to say that the studies weren't reputable because it wasn't like a nationwide thing. They only looked at certain areas, things like that. This is a study titled, "Is There Evidence of Racial Disparity in Police Use of Deadly Force? Analyses of officer-involved fatal shootings in 2015 to 2016. Now, this is recent, right? Most studies you see, you're going to be like, oh, we looked at the numbers from 2011, whatever. So that's the best. That's one of the better parts of this study, is that the numbers are from recently. Okay, this is the era, 2015, 2016. This is when all this stuff started to go down and starting to escalate. The whole narrative of Black Lives Matter and police are shooting black people, and fatherhood, you know, all that stuff goes down the drain. So let's go through what this study says for us, what these wonderful facts, how these facts are going to help align order back into our lives again. Maybe, hopefully. Is there evidence of black-white disparity in death by police gunfire in the United States? This is commonly answered by comparing the odds of being fatally shot for blacks and whites, with odds benchmarked against each group's population proportion. Which, you know, you think that's okay, that's a reasonable way to do it. However, adjusting for population values has questionable assumptions, given the context of deadly force decisions. We benchmarked 2 years of fatal shooting data on 16 crime rate estimates. When adjusting for crime, we find no systematic evidence of anti-black disparities in fatal shootings of unarmed citizens, or fatal shootings involving misidentification of harmless objects. So they went through everything, all right? They knew what the arguments were going to be for this pro Black Lives Matter narrative of anti-cop, anti-black. So they specifically controlled for objects that are misidentified. Stephon Clark had a cell phone, not a gun. That the kid in the park had a toy gun, not a real gun. So there's one thing I want to point out in here. This is the most important part of the article. Now, this is the point that I had always made that kind of went overlooked right here. It says, when adjusting for crime. This is what every single member of Black Lives Matter wants to ignore. This is not even, they can't even let this idea enter their head, right? Because it would be like the equivalent of one molecule of iron hitting the center of the sun, or whatever it is. It would create a chemical reaction that would cause the whole thing to explode or shut down. Something like that. I talked about that in physics like 10 years ago. I forgot what it was. You can't let them know that when you adjust for crime, because guess what? I don't know if you knew this or not. I'm not sure if you knew, but black people commit more crime than white people. So they have more interactions with police. You see this? We find no systematic evidence of anti-black disparities in fatal shootings of unarmed citizens, or fatal shootings involving misidentification of harmless objects. Multiverse analyses. Multiverse. I think they meant multi-variable. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm just reading this stuff, okay? Showed only one significant anti-black disparity of 144 possible tests. Exposure to police given crime rate differences likely accounts for the higher per capita rate of fatal police shootings for blacks, at least when analyzing all shootings. For unarmed shootings or misidentification shootings, data are too uncertain to be conclusive. So the only place that they're not certainly conclusive is that it's directly related to the increased crime rates between blacks and whites with unarmed and misidentification shootings. When you're looking at all shootings, there's no significant disparities. Okay, so that narrative that's running Black Lives Matter, the entire narrative that's running that, essentially, I recommend you guys, I'm going to put a link to this in the YouTube channel description. I recommend checking that out. So the whole point of reading this article and pointing out that police and white people, we're not the ones trying to tear apart fatherhood and parenthood in the black community. The whole point is, how far are you going to play the victim until you want to actually try and claim some responsibility for the outcome of your life? And that right there is the tenet to being the key. One of the key tenets to being a man, not only, but to being a father, is having responsibility for your life and all of the stuff that makes up your life. And when you become a father, your child becomes the priority in your life. And I'm not just talking about, oh, mushy gushy, oh, I love my kid. I'm talking about biologically, evolutionarily. That's the whole point. You're there, basically your existence at that point is to make sure that your kid gets to age 18 with, not obese, no diseases, alive, not like all scarred up and damaged and missing an arm, missing a leg. Your responsibility is to get that kid to 18 years old in the best condition possible, right? And that's a responsibility that a lot of people don't want to take these days. And is that the result of the war on men, or is it just the result of our society becoming softer? Is it? I think that's probably the biggest part of it too. To be honest, I'm not gonna say that society is the biggest cause for why men are so. Oh, men are so. We're soy boy. Everyone's a soy boy now, right? Don't be a soy boy. If I'm being honest, I think actually the biggest problem for men these days, and not just men, but everyone in general, is society and how pathetically soft it is, how soft it makes you. Going back to what I was talking about earlier with the childhood thing, if you don't experience this adversity and, toughen up during childhood, you're not going to know how to handle this kind of stuff when you're older. Society's made everything so easy for us. Every single time I go to the grocery store, my mind is blown. I swear. Every single time I go to the grocery store, my mind is blown. Just a grocery store. I'm talking about Safeway, people. Safeway blows my mind. Because I walk in, I don't know what it is about my brain, but I have this weird zoomed out perspective on life all the time. So I go in, I see, meats wrapped up in the deli counter, fried chicken here, fish here, tilapia there, whatever it is, some fresh vegetables over here from who knows where, all around the world. All this stuff gathered into one spot. All I have to do is pick it up and put it in my mouth. All right, I don't have to go and raise a cow for 8 years and go out in the mornings and feed it every day and milk it or whatever, chop it up, butcher it with care, learn how to be a butcher, learn how to store the meat. I don't have to go out and tend fields or tend orchards. I don't have to grow trees to get apples and avocados. I just go into the store, I pick up an avocado, and then I put it in my mouth. That's it. We don't have to do anything. There's nothing, and then what? I want to do something new. I just look up how to do it on my phone, right? I don't know the answer to a question. I don't have to know anything in my head inherently. I just look it up on my phone. You don't have to do anything anymore these days. That's the whole point of what I'm saying. You could sit on your chair all day and exist so comfortably and so soft. And then, that's not good. It's not good. You need to put yourself in situations where you can grow. You can't grow without getting a little bit of damage. That's how muscles grow. All right, you lift weights. That's the whole point. You lift weights. It creates micro tears in your muscles. And the healing of those muscles, the healing of those micro tears is what makes the muscles bigger. So it's the same way with a personality, the same way with the brain. If you just let it atrophy, if I didn't do anything, if I didn't lift, I didn't get physical activity, my arms would just wither away and I wouldn't have giant guns to crush soy boys with, they would just be gone and then I'd be defenseless. Same thing with your personality, same thing with your mind. You have to exercise your mind, you have to exercise your personality to get to a point to where you can handle this kind of stuff. So when you get a father that doesn't do any of that, and then he has a kid, that kid's definitely not doing any of that. That kid's doing a lot less because he's got smartphone in his hand when he's 6 months old. What do you think's gonna happen? What do you think is gonna happen? No, I know music is playing, Mitch. Is it too loud? It was too loud last time. I want to make sure that it's not very loud. Because here's the thing, if there's music playing and I have a good rant, if it could seem really epic when I get a good rant coming up with the right song. All I'm saying is take risks, put yourself in the face of adversity, try new things, fail a lot, fail miserably, and then pass those tenets down to your kid. If I have a kid, he's not gonna wear a helmet. I'm gonna put him on a bike. I'm gonna make him fall on the concrete, and probably gonna laugh a little bit when he does. But he's gonna fall on the concrete and hit his face, scratch up his arm. He's gonna do it over and over and over again. He's gonna scuffle with the other kids. He's going to get reprimanded from his teachers, from people when he does stuff wrong. He needs to actually interact with the world. And a key aspect of interacting with the world is you're gonna fail a lot. I'm not talking about like failing at starting a new business. I'm talking about trying to learn how to ride a bike, trying to learn how to rollerblade. You're gonna rollerblade, you're gonna fall, you're gonna scrape your knee. All right, so what do? You give him a helmet, you put him in a bodysuit so he doesn't get touched by the ground. Oh, go skate, Johnny. And they're all like in a bubble. Like, no. Because when you fall, there's no consequences, right? What are you teaching a kid? What kind of patterns are you ingraining in a kid's head when you tell him that there's no consequences for trying things and failing? That's not how. Kick him while he's down. Push the kid down. I might have to. If the kid's too good at bike riding, I'm just gonna walk up and I'm gonna shove a stick in the spokes and I don't know what happened. I mean, you just fell. I don't know. Sometimes that's a great lesson to learn. Sometimes someone is just gonna stick a stick in your spokes and your bike is just gonna go flying. You don't know why. You can't explain that. Tides go in, tides come out. You can't explain that. But your kid needs to go through that kind of stuff. The parents who I talked about in the CNN article, they're not gonna put their kids through any of that. They're gonna be a bubble wrapped kid, and the kid's gonna grow to be, just a soft, silly putty version of a human being. And that's why I can't wait for Mad Max. Somebody needs to launch some nukes. If Russia wants to nuke, that's cool. I'm down. If we can get a dust bowl, all the food's gone. I'm ready for Mad Max because I think I was like the last person ever to play outside. Maybe some of you guys were. Hopefully you're younger than me and you play outside. But I mean, I was breaking my arm, beating people up, getting in fights at school, doing all this stuff, and that gives you a little something. I've never had to take, I'm not on prescription pills for anxiety or whatever, any of that kind of stuff. And I take a lot of big risks. I move across the country by myself to take, jobs that I've never been in and live in places I've never been because I had some adversity in my childhood. I could do that kind of stuff without being, oh my God, I'm so worried. Oh my God. I never experienced the emotion of worry ever. Never once. I don't even know what that feels like because I fell on my bike when I was a kid. My teeth are chipped because I smashed my face on the concrete because I had no helmet. I broke my arm because I didn't care. And I got yelled at and I got a cast and I had to deal with the consequences. All right. So when you smash your face on the concrete, having to deal with soy boys at a Black Lives Matter rally, like trying to get in my face, it does nothing. It's like I'm immune, okay? I'm not trying to be a tough guy. I'm not saying I could go to prison and just rule the place. I'm just saying when you have adversity, you get a little bit of a thicker skin. You have a wider range of situations that you can deal with. That is what a father should endow in their son. Not all this BS about, oh, my values, and let's get his ear pierced at 20 months old because that's going to make him into a great lover and he's going to travel the world. No. None of that. Zero of that matters, all right? You need to put your kid out in the playground and let him fall from the monkey bars. Let him do all that stuff. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I fantasize about Mad Max all the time. All the time. I didn't get my teeth fixed, by the way. They're still chipped. Just to remind me every once in a while. Every once in a while, I almost cut my tongue on it or my lip. And it reminds me, oh yeah, I smashed my face on the concrete. That's why I'm not a soy boy. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's hard. It's very difficult to raise a child properly these days, and then that's given perfect circumstances. Then you got stuff like sickness or your parents abuse you. You got some of that thrown in. I'll admit I did cheat. I got a way, but it's not cheating though. That's the thing. It's not cheating to have two parents who are not divorced. That's what I had. I had two real parents. A lot of people I know, a lot of you I'm sure, didn't have two parents. I had a great father role model. I had a great mom. they're together. They've been together for like whatever, 30, 40 years. I don't even know. Can't even remember. A long time. So that's not. I feel like I'm cheating when I compare myself to everyone else around me who didn't have that, but that's how it's supposed to be. Imagine how great society would be if parents all took that responsibility to stay together and raise their child properly. How great would society be at this point? You know what I mean? Hope you warn your dates too. Warn them about what, Karen? Hey, I smashed my face on concrete when I was a kid, all right? Just to warn you. No, that's the thing. It's not, you don't have to say that out loud explicitly. The way that you behave when you are a real man and you're raised that way, it just comes out naturally. It's an inherent aura, a behavior. You don't have to do anything to let people know that that's what you are. I don't have to go around saying, I'm a real man. I'm a man because of this and this and this. Even though I just spent the last 20 minutes doing that. Just examples, okay? That's not what I do in real life. I was just giving you a little personal history on me. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah, it totally went right over my head. That one, I see what you're saying. I've been dropped on a plate of spaghetti. What? Miles, I don't know. Oh, I've been told to bang my head into glass and got cuts on my head, taken to hospital. That's good, man. You got to get some scars. Yes, Voyager country. Voyager. I don't know how to pronounce that, but you got it right on the dot, man. Scars are mandatory. If you don't have some scars, you're doing it wrong. Press 1 if you have 2 parents. That's the thing, man. Even the white single parenthood rate is climbing. It's like 40% now. You know, that's not a valid argument against the black community, black single parenthood thing. So when you bring up black parenthood, I've had soy boys tell me, white people have single parenthood too. Yeah, but it's half the rate. So it's a culture thing. It's a culture thing. That's what I'm saying. My son is in great shape then. Just got 3 stitches on his head from falling off the porch. Awesome. Take your kid and throw him off the porch repeatedly until he's just in a full body cast. And then he's going to have a great life. No, actually, it's a bad example because he needs to do it himself. He needs to learn that his actions can make him cause harm to himself. Don't throw him off. I'm kidding. That's why I don't have a parent coaching channel, okay? Because I just tell people to throw their kids off porches. Don't do that. I'm not a certified parental trainer. But yeah, I mean that's Father's Day. Keep that in mind. I mean, am I BSing? I don't know. That's just what I have picked up from everything that I've learned so far. Everything I just said is 100% BS because I'm not a father. I don't know. All I know is what worked on me and what I see work in other people. I'm sure there's a lot of fathers there's some fathers in chat that maybe taking a little different approach and, you know, probably still work it out. But yeah, I'm joking. That's the point. A lot of it is joking, but still serious at the same time. Not 100% joking. Anyway, it's 7:20. Mother's shield, dad takes more risk. That's why we have both. Exactly. Thank you, Karen. That's a good point. That's why you need both distinct gender roles. Because your dad's gonna act one way. You know, your dad's gonna tell you to make the paper airplanes and throw them in people's heads. You know, your mom's gonna be telling you to call home when you leave house for 5 minutes because she's worried and this and that. And that's a perfect example of what I had. But that's what you need. You need to have 2 different people raising you and influencing you You can't, it's balance, right? Just everything. It's the yin and the yang, the light and the dark. You have to have the balance. It's a binary world we live in. I know transgenders and all those 80 other genders don't like to hear that, but I'm speaking from a strictly biological, evolutionary perspective on that, all right? It's binary. You have to have a balance in that binary. If you throw it off, then you can expect to have an adverse outcome. A father throws child up, mother sees it as a child getting hurt. Yeah, oh, the mom, yeah, the father's playing with the child, the mom's the one that says, don't do that, you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna hurt yourself, you're gonna poke your eye out, right? Christmas Story. You guys remember the Christmas Story, right? With Ralphie and all that. Perfect example. Two parents are very diverse. You know, it's a good example of what a woman is and what a man is. The woman, what does she say throughout the entire movie? Constantly. No, I don't want you to have that. You're going to shoot your eye out. Because he wants the gun. He wants the toy BB gun, right? The father, what happens at the end of the movie? The father gets him the gun because, oh, I had one when I was a kid and that's it. I have to end it on that. How can I end it on a better note than the Christmas Story? Watch Christmas Story if you want a good example of parenting. Don't take my word for it. Reading Rainbow. All right? That's all I'm saying. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the new study that I brought up for you. The CNN article was difficult, but I'm glad we got through it. Saturday streams don't appear to be as popular, but, you know, we'll do a little back and forth. We'll try it out. We'll do Saturdays for a couple weeks, maybe a Sunday evening. If that doesn't work, we'll go back to Mondays. Whatever works the best for everyone here. I want as much of the community to be a part of this as possible. So that's all I got for you guys today. My name is Jeremy from the Weekly Narrative. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't already to see when I'm going to be going live and to see my awesome comments on CNN articles. Twitter.com/weeklynarrative. Patreon.com/weeklynarrative if you guys are feeling generous and you want to help me create more content like this. I'll put links in the description. Oh, there are already links in the description. Go down here. Down here. Links in the description to my Twitter and my Patreon. So you guys have a good week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be excellent to each other.